are so generous. Thank you very much. I mean, I get a standing ovation. I haven't even said anything yet. I could really suck. So I'll take it, all right? I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you, Danny, Rochelle, for inviting me to Colorado. I got here yesterday, I think. I think it was yesterday. I'm not sure what day it is today, but I know it's tomorrow already in New Zealand. And I'll give you a little bit of a chance to get used to my vernacular, because I thought I spoke English. But something interesting happened to me yesterday when I arrived. I pulled into the reception area there and, ooh. It was a bit like that, actually. And I said, Phil McMaster, I want a chicken. And she goes, well, the restaurant is down that way. And I went, you don't seem to understand. I want a chicken. She goes, yeah, you can get that in the restaurant down there. And I was like, I'm not sure what you're saying. And then she realised she wasn't sure what I was saying. She thought I was saying chicken, like I wanted to eat some chicken, but I wanted to check in. So it was just a little bit of a reminder that there are some differences. There are some differences here, and I'm really enjoying my time here. I've never been to Colorado before. It's flat, isn't it? Apart from those big hills at the other end there, it's a pretty flat place. And we don't have a lot of flat expanse like that in New Zealand. It's kind of narrow and long and high in the middle, so there's not a lot of flat stuff. But like this place, it's pretty cool. As was mentioned before, we do have the best rugby team in the world. And in fact, last night, are there any Aussies in here? That is such a shame, because we just kicked their butts last night. The biggest loss they've ever had on home soil, and I've got no one here to rub it into. That's very disappointing. But I can't wait to go home and see that game. While we're speaking of that, I need to clear up a couple of things, because a lot of people have been asking me about the situation in Australia, and some people seem to think that New Zealand and Australia is kind of the same place. Whilst that's a little insulting, I won't take offence, but you do need to know that New Zealand and Australia are very different. We're different countries, different culture, and a different attitude, and you may be aware of some of the challenges that the Australian chiropractors are facing at the moment. And without getting into too much detail, I can tell you that in New Zealand, we've been immune from all of that. We have not had the difficulties that they have in Australia. And I don't want to sound critical, but I'll just state it as it is. Those of you who know me know I'm pretty straight up. But in my opinion, the reason that the Australian chiropractors are attracting so much negative attention at the moment is because they've had 30 years of graduating mechanistic chiropractors from a university-based system where a profession has lost control of what they're producing. They have no say in it whatsoever. So the majority of the profession in Australia now are represented by people who've graduated from chiropractic colleges who do not understand chiropractic as most of the people here this weekend do. It's a form of therapy. It's more like physiotherapy. And what sets them apart from New Zealand is that for 20 years in New Zealand, we've been graduating vitalistic chiropractors, people who do understand what chiropractic is all about. So how that translates is this. The majority of the chiropractors practicing in New Zealand now are graduates of our college, and they practice accordingly. So the majority of the chiropractic profession in New Zealand have an appreciation for what we've been celebrating here this weekend, whereas the majority of the chiropractors practicing in Australia don't. And they're attracting negative attention, and, you know, we're trying to help out. Our college was basically born out of a need. Those of us who went to Sherman College, and there were quite a few of us, saw the need for more like-minded chiropractors in our offices. We went back to New Zealand. We started our practices and they were real busy really quickly, and we needed more chiropractors, and we didn't have anyone going to the States anymore because it was too expensive and we couldn't get loans to do that. So it sort of dried up a little bit, and the only alternative was these graduates from the Australian colleges that really were not suitable for our practices. So we decided we're going to start a college, and we're going to model it basically on what our experience was at Sherman College. So that's how far-reaching that influence was and still is. And Ed Kadira and I, whenever we meet at these things, we cannot but agree that there are two chiropractic colleges in this world that we agree are probably the closest of all of them, and that's Sherman and the New Zealand College, and I'm very proud of that. So you may or may not know there's been some talk about creating a new initiative in Australia, in Adelaide, a non-university based private college modelled on the New Zealand College. And I'm not sure whether you're aware or not, but the Board of Trustees at our college gifted our intellectual property, our curriculum, policies, procedures and manuals to the people who are starting the college in Adelaide, because we feel it's really important that they get the same influence that we have. And that's like $5 million worth. So when we were in need in 2002, some other colleges came to they helped us. It's our turn to pay that forward, and we will continue to do that. So I just wanted to give a few of you a bit of an outline of that, because I've been asked a lot of questions about that. And as Dan mentioned, I believe chiropractic is alive and well in New Zealand, and it's thriving. It's going very, very well. And we have a profession that's fairly united in New Zealand. We have agreements with our own association and our own regulatory board that whenever there are any difficulties or problems, we first and foremost, we get together and we talk and we work it out. That doesn't happen very often, I find, in organisations in chiropractic.